guys, welcome to another episode of Snagged Podcast and Giveaways. Normal crew is here, but we've got one extra.
Plus one.
Big Dan Smith himself. So Dan's going to come in and have a bit of a yak to you guys about chasing kingfish from the shore and his journey with it. You know, it's always good to hear from experts and stuff like that are out in boats and doing this sort of stuff borderline for a living, but it's also good to hear from someone that's got a good following, that is standard fisher, loves what he's doing, fishing from the shore. He isn't, getting fish 4 times a friggin' week and put them all over social media, but he actually has a journey where he's showing people what to do and how he's going. So welcome, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have another top bloke around us, eh? Very good.
Absolutely.
Cozy.
Yeah.
We don't always speak more like him, and here we are. So what's been happening fishing-wise, young Dylan? What have you been up to?
Had a few little missions on the weekend. Just didn't have the boat for the weekend, so thought, screw it. We were going to go for a bream mission, and then no boat, so we were like, oh, well, we'll just poke around some of the marinas and stuff like that. And we fished the one in Prince of Wales and the one in Lindisfarne.
Yep.
In there, just fishing around structure and stuff like that, like mussels, plastics and stuff like that. And we caught a fair few bream. Like, biggest was probably like 38 to the fork. So like that
Still good fish.
That one was good, but like there was a lot of smaller ones in between. But like it was just sort of like, it's a fun sort of style of fishing because you cast and like trying to get right up underneath the jetty, and then you just sit and wait, and then you just rip them out. So yeah, no, it was a good day. And then had a bit of a look down Lauderdale way on Monday, and yeah, not much luck there, but I sort of was fishing before it turned to, what was it, about 50k winds Sunday afternoon and rain.
That's it. Well, Sunday would have been a hot day out there fishing. Glad I wasn't fishing Sunday. Oh, very good. Yeah, cool. So nothing out of the ordinary, just brim
dramatic. Nothing dramatic.
Dan, you do much brim fishing?
I used to when I was younger. I used to fish little swamp water a lot.
Yeah.
Cracking spot.
Used to smash that a lot, especially when I was young, when my dad used to take me out on the weekend. And
yeah, nice.
But apart from that, it's something I've sort of left for a while. But back then, people weren't using lures and things as much. It was only baits, so it's changed a lot now. So I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Facebook of people catching bream, and I think it's something I want to give a crack after the kingfish disappeared.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess you and Jarvis are doing your son are doing quite a bit of chasing trout stuff, especially with deer and stuff like that. So I guess brim's going to be a bit of a bycatch at some stage there. So it's an epic brim fishery. It's certainly worth getting into.
And that's the thing, like lures and stuff like that. Like, I mean, brim fishing with bait and stuff like that. Like, it's like if you do it right, it's not really a challenge. Like, you can go to most rivers and stuff like that, and like hop around a couple of spots and stuff like that, and just float out a prawn, and you'll get one at least.
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up bait fishing for ages, and then eventually got into lures when I was a lot younger. Yeah. Throwing around some of the most atrocious lures, like I was never Tassie Devils, but like Ashley spinners and was it Wonder Wobblers and stuff. I can't believe these brim actually whacked them back in the day.
They're definitely like the one fish that are so different from bait to lures. Like, I swear, like, there's just such a gap between it. Like, you go out, you catch one bait, and you're like, yeah, no, I know where they're sitting. And then you throw lures in there, and they'll just go, no, I'm not eating that. So,
yeah.
Good challenge.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
And they can be completely shut down. Like I was talking to one of the juniors that comes in here a little bit, lives up at St Helens on the weekend. Massive school of brim in front of him. Threw absolutely everything. These things just were not interested. They're only 10 foot in front of him. He said he was throwing things, the lures were bouncing off their backs, just not interested, just sitting there, still feeding. They just wouldn't hit a lure. Yeah, it was crazy. Well, before we get too much onto brim and stuff like that, Dan, welcome again, as we said. So, obviously, you've had a bit of a season, the last couple of seasons chasing kingfish. Obviously, you got your first kingfish last year.
Finally.
And what I love about what you're doing is you're documenting the journey from state. And you're talking about when you don't catch anything too, which is awesome, because obviously social media, it's all about, for a lot of people, like catching fish, holding it up, getting awesome photos and stuff like that.
Would you say clickbait?
Well, you can almost say clickbait. But like, it's not. But what I love about it is, like, you're happy to say, look, went out there, put some hours in, saw one, lost one, think I saw one, and that journey follows through, and people can sit there and sort of give a bit of an idea of what you're doing and stuff. So I guess on that sort of topic, so last season in particular, obviously you did catch kingfish.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I saw that from hooking it, landing it, eating it. It was an awesome little journey. But how many hours did you put in last season for us?
I put in 196 hours and 15 minutes until I caught that fish. So that was, that was, it was relentless.
Yeah.
But
rewarded.
But definitely rewarding because I've caught all different fish in my life. I've got tuna, I've caught sharks, I've got everything. Pound for pound, that fish that I caught was the best fighting fish I've ever hooked on a rod and reel.
That's awesome.
And especially on land based.
And I think, the cool thing is like when you're putting that many hours, shall I say, into trying to catch one particular species, and I think we all know that kingfish are just one of those fish that'll bring people unstunned if they don't put the time and effort in to actually do it. Like, I mean, everyone gets lucky now and then, but like, I know guys that'll sort of give up after putting 20, 30 hours and go, nah, that's it, they're too hard, I'm not interested. Whereas, you've quadrupled that well and truly.
I'm warming up at 20 or 30 hours.
That's exactly right. Land.
Some change, eh?
So interesting. So, like, this season, not a kingfish yet?
Not a kingfish yet.
How many hours have you got?
I've got 139 hours in this season.
You're running out, man.
I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
It's closing.
Just over 50 to go, man. You're there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's interesting, too, to see how many hours this year, but might not happen, but I'm not saying that yet.
So, so obviously you've had a lot of trips. You've seen some?
Yeah, early in the season. I had 4 follow-ins early in the season.
That's hard.
And, Tasman Bridge was a spot on the concrete block. One followed it right in. It was really cool to see. CSRO, 2 follow-ins there.
Yep.
And then my son and I were at the Bluff about a week later, and he had a popper on, and he's like, kingfish, kingfish. And one followed it all the way in, and it was just going around in circles in front of us, teasing us.
Oh, that's annoying.
And then slowly swam off. It's the slowest moving kingfish I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing, like, sometimes, like, finding kingfish is one thing, but finding them when they're feeding is a whole other scenario. Like, we've had, I'm sure you have too, Dylan, indeed as well. Like, you have them at the back of the boat sometimes. I remember one session up at George's Bay, we had them sitting at the back of the boat for probably 3 hours.
Wow.
Just circling, doing their thing, dropping lures down, dropping baits down to them. Just were not interested. And then instantly we had a 4-way hookup.
Oh, wow.
After about 3.5 hours. We're like, what turns them on after 3.5 hours? I think like maybe one just goes, oh no, I'm hungry, and then they all just follow on and keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to miss out kind of thing.
Yeah, so, and then they have that sort of pack mentality where they feed. Not like salmon, obviously, you just cast something in front of them, they just go nuts for it.
Yeah.
So last year, what was the lure of choice? What did you catch them on?
So run lure. You've actually got them here in the shop.
I do, yeah. I think we get it. I put them up there. I think photo of you up there, and I'm just about sold out, so we get some more back in.
Yeah, no, they're really good. I
went pretty affordable lure as well.
They are. For it's a really good quality lure. And you want a good quality lure because when it hits it, it's like a freight train on it, seriously. And you don't want any of the rings to fail or your hooks to fail or anything like that. You can't have anything go wrong because a million things will. I like the lure as well. The main thing about the lure is I went through a lot of different lures, and some swam really well, some swam a little bit better than this lure. But what I liked about this lure was I can cast it for a long period of time. And I can wind it a bit slower and let it sink a bit deeper, and it's still got the action to it. Or I can bring it a bit harder and make a bit of a bubble trail behind it. Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of variables to it, but basically it was that I can cast it for a long time, and it can cast them a long way. Yeah, longer through the water. So you're sticking to that one lure you've been fishing that most of the season. Most of the season. What about your son? How's he? He's swapped around a bit actually. Yeah, he's poppers, runs. I love it. He's been doing all different things. Has he got one this season? No, not yet. No. Oh, that's good. He had a follow in, so that was super exciting. Yeah, as I talked about earlier. I love the fact that you guys are doing it together because you guys fish a lot. Cool. Like, I mean, you guys fish a lot. I mean, I'm always in there. I get my fishing fix just from watching what you guys do online. Stuff like that. Yeah, we do a lot. We do a real lot, actually. Yeah.
I'm saying the right amount.
Yeah, just enough. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's it's good for people to hear that like. You're putting the hours in, you are getting rewarded after you put a lot of hours in because, like, I mean, as we were saying before, like, sometimes people get lucky, but a lot of the time guys are not going out there catching kingfish after 1 or 2 trips. They're really putting the hours in. I was talking to Damon Sheriff last week when we did our interview on kingfish, and that man's been catching kingfish for God knows how long, 20-something years. And in fact, if those that haven't watched it, scroll back down through a few videos, you'll see our interview we did with Damon Sheriff. That was absolutely fantastic. But like he's the same as you. Like he's got a boat and stuff like that, but he'll put an enormous amount of hours and effort and doesn't necessarily put online and tell everyone all the time exactly what he's doing like you do, but he puts effort and time in there to figure out exactly what it is, and then eventually once he nails it, he starts figuring it out, and off he goes on every single trip. So I'm excited to see what's happening there. So standout area for you, what do you reckon's the easiest one for shore fishing for kingfish?
For someone that was sort of beginning and if you want to drive and generally get a spot, because the problem can be too how many people are there when you get there. You've got to rub a neck before you get around the corner. Sometimes you've got to wait. Best spot for that would be the Bluff, I'd say, for someone beginning.
Whereabouts is the Bluff?
Bellaroo
Bluff,
yeah.
Right.
Point or something, it's called.
Get on the tail.
Yeah.
You're next to the woods, mate.
I was going to say, now I've got no excuse.
There's a fair bit of area there too. I mean, and even if there's a couple of heads like a little bit further down that are like the exact same sort of structure. So, I mean, it's sort of like around that area is a good point to probably pinpoint. And it's like if you can't get an area specifically on the Bluff, it's like you've got the head above it or below it with like a couple of kilometres drive.
And how far out you got to cast?
I just cast it as far as
Much scared.
It's funny. I was over here when you guys were talking before the Edward session where you were pretty sure you saw every kingfish and they were just a couple of metres past what you could actually get to.
Yeah, that was actually last Sunday down at Signet. That's where I actually caught my kingfish last year.
Yeah.
That's a good spot too, but it's a bit harder to fish. They haven't got much space there. There was heaps of big bait fish, like the big pilchard size, and they were just like something like on National Geographic. They were just shoaling out the top of the water like this. It's just this big shimmer. And then there was you could just see the bow waves of big fish just coming in super fast and just spread it all out like that. It was like rain hitting the water. It's just incredible.
Did you see what fish they were?
No, didn't. It was just out there that too far. I couldn't see what they were, but they were big fish. They were good sized fish. I've seen salmon feeding and things like that. It looked a lot different. I don't know if it was wishful thinking, but who knows?
I mean, that's what kingfish do. They do chase bait up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, how as far as like the rods and reels, without getting too specific into it, sort of roughly, what sort of braid are you using?
I've been using 30-pound braid this year.
Yep, perfect.
Which I get here.
And about 20-pound leader.
Yeah, 20-pound leader. Because especially with your first one or two, I've only caught one. But I'm thinking we're putting these hours in. If I do hook something, I want to be able to get it in. And even with that, you've still got to fight it like you've got 5-pound lines.
Yeah, that's it.
Raw.
Well, I think that's the thing. Like in the past, I've gone up to St Helens. I've been out the boat and stuff, and when we know they've been around, I've been mucking around with like 10 and 8 pounds and stuff like that. But you'd lose fish.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the thing for those guys that are trying to get their first one. It's fun to fish flight for them and stuff, but a lot of people, I just don't think they realise how hard these things pull.
That's right.
And I was on a boat chasing the damn thing at 8 and 10 pound, and even then we were getting dusted up over sand.
Yeah.
So I think fishing that's like 20 to 30 pound braid with heavier leaders, it's like you say, if you hook it, you're gonna get it.
And being land based, not on a boat, you've got a lot of structure around you, so you've got to control it a lot more when you're getting it in closer to shore. That one I actually caught. I've got it on video. I actually thought I lost it twice. It actually got tangled up on a reef in front of me and my line was slack. And all I'm thinking in my head is, listen, the minute this snaps, I've got to get a lure on quick as I can and just keep casting and get over that fish in case it's still out there. Mm-hmm. And then I was panicking a bit, and the guy next to me said, just undo your bow. And I thought, oh yeah, so I undid my bow. And then all of a sudden it started swimming up and it actually came out and it was just like a miracle. Yeah. And then I've just put in a few more lines, it's taken off again. Put in a few more lines, and I'm getting it around the corner. And I'm starting to bring it up onto the shore, and then the line snapped when it's in about this much water. So I've run out behind it with my feet because my son went to grab it, and I was worried about the hooks going in his hand. Yeah. So I ran behind it with my feet, sort of pushed it up on the shore with my feet, and we actually landed.
Oh, and laugh for the video.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Fishing gods, absolutely.
Everything came together.
That's it. I think we're all going to be excited. Well, I definitely think at some stage we need to get you out in a boat to chase them, but I think we'll take you out boat fishing for them once you caught one off the shore this season.
All right.
Making you go.
A little bit more of a reward.
A bit more incentive now.
That's it. I reckon top 5 fish is probably going to be the best question you've caught.
Yeah.
Great question.
Well, that is a good question. Definitely my king. That's in there. That's in there. I put a 93 kilo tuna a few years ago at Luton, one of those big barrels. That day I lost about 4 or 5 20 kilo ones to seals, and I had enough, and I couldn't be bothered winding any more in. And everyone's going, "Come on, you got to wind in one more." Everybody else gone, and I thought, "All right." And then we hooked up a monster, so I had to get my stuff together.
Yeah.
And focus, and yeah, so that was. I just couldn't believe how big it was when it was in the boat. I just couldn't fathom how big this fish was. It was insane.
Yeah, so, that's awesome.
And then I've got a lot of good sea runner trout. Actually, I caught some good ones last season. So sea running trout, yeah, I'll put that on the list. Got my first stripy trumpeter this year.
So, I saw that with Stewie Nichols. Absolutely.
Stewie Nichols, and Stewie Nichols is the charter I was on when I caught the tuna as well.
That's going to be my next question, absolutely. Yeah, no, you've had some awesome trips with him.
Yeah.
And the lucky last, what is it?
I would say...
I'm testing it now.
Yeah, you tested me. Trout Road at Scamander. Big silver trevally up there years ago. My son was only about 8 or 9 then.
Yeah.
Well, big for Tasmania.
Yeah.
You know,
What's it?
this sort of big.
So I just got to hold it close to the camera.
Yeah.
But they were really fun, unlike you.
Yeah.
Insane.
Oh,
Yeah,
very good.
nice.
Yeah.
Love it, man.
Now you fish for a long stretch of time each fishing session you go for, by the sounds of it. You know, you don't clock up those kinds of hours by doing half an hour stints.
No.
What do you think is the best kind of food to maintain such stamina?
Good question.
Mm.
Great question. Muesli bars. I keep muesli bars in my bag.
My boy.
Plenty of water.
Yes.
Plenty of water. You go through heaps of water.
Zinger box.
Yeah, that's good after when you're cold on the way home.
That's what you do on the way home and you fall
Yeah,
asleep
yeah.
on the car and you're almost home because you've
Yeah.
just consumed 8,000 calories.
But yeah, I find though too, might sound weird, but I like being hungry when I'm fishing because it gives me incentive to try and catch something.
Oh, that's cool.
I like it.
That's cool.
They almost like
Always
they're
believe that.
rewarding yourself with a
Yeah, you really want
bit
it,
of
you
a
know.
sweet treat when you
Catching dinner.
I love that. Cool. That's awesome. So obviously, as far as fishing and stuff goes, obviously you mentioned what you love and the kingfish stuff, and you've been very kind of giving us all your details around that. But you guys are like you and your son are quite mad into your trout fishing.
Yeah, love trout fishing, love it. My grandfather used to do it, and his ashes are up at Lake Sorrel, and
Awesome.
so I thought as soon as I get my license, I want to start doing it myself. And
Yep.
now my son comes with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
So we do a lot of fishing at Lake Crescent.
Yep.
Catch a lot of good fish out of there this year, actually. Or my son caught the most. He did really well.
Good,
Yeah,
mate.
just in close, black and gold soft plastics.
Yeah.
In close. And the River Derwent was pretty good this year. I think we ended up with about 16 good ones. The year before we ended up with 23. So, but the Bridgewater Bridge, they were doing the work.
Yeah.
And we think when they were pole driving, it's like just wasn't as good. There wasn't any like white bait or anything this year and stuff like that. Yeah, and Shannon Lagoon, that fish as well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Small shelters just on dark along the road.
Yeah.
Fish, you catch weed probably every second cast, but you just got to fish through it.
They say no weed, no feed.
Yeah, that's right. And then around the back, it's a little bit deeper, and just use spotted dog,
Mm-hmm.
or anything sort of hard body with a bib on it that's got a, and you don't wind in too quick. But the trick with all our trout is, what we've learnt, this is when we've catched a lot more fish, don't just wind it in, there's no fish there, and pull it out of the water, because that's when your trout's going to hit it.
Yeah.
Always wind it into your wind stopped, and then turn your body and drag that lure till it's out of the water.
Yeah.
Because that Lake Pedder, I've actually had 2 fish. They're only little in Lake Pedder, but I've had 2 fish. And I've pulled that lure out of the water, and it's chased it all the way out of the water. I didn't even have to wind. The fish is actually on the shore. It's probably just hooked him and didn't even have to turn.
Take you trout fishing your first trip. That's how easy it is.
Yeah, well, the sounds of it, just turn right.
But we struggled with trout fishing for a long time, and we just kept going and going and putting hours and hours in and learning. Because all of the mistakes and all the things that go wrong, if you remember them, they help you too in the long run.
Well, I think that's, if people take anything out of, I guess, your journey with fishing in general, by the sounds of it, it's time, commitment, and go, keep going. And they often wonder, these people are out there smashing fish left, right, and centre, and I get a lot of people say, just can't seem to get these big numbers. It's like, it's so many years of so many hours and so many practices and so many no fish trips.
Yeah.
That you start to figure it out. It's not like I've been blessed that I was fishing very, very young age, trout fishing with my old man. So when I go up, I'm feeling confident. I know what I'm doing. You can read the water and go, nah, it's time to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
I was going to say, learning the lay of the land would be a massive thing as well, wouldn't it?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Some spots where you wouldn't think you'd even cast, that's where, especially in Lake Crescent, that's where I catch most of my trout.
Yeah. So
I remember I took my son to a spot and he's like, here. I'm like, yeah. 10 minutes later, he had one on.
Yeah.
15 minutes later, he had another one on.
Too good.
Yeah.
So I guess the big question before we start getting into reports and stuff like that is, this is probably a question for the three of us. What's your prediction for Ours putting to Kingfish this year for him to get his first kingfish?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's me.
I reckon you're going to clock in a comfortable 172.
Oh,
You're not that far
I'll
off
write
it.
this down.
Yeah, right down. Yeah, we'll say that.
172, that's my call.
What are you going?
206.
I'm not feeling it. She's late in the season. What I'd say a solid 178.
Oh, he's close.
Oh, God. Jeez, right.
All right.
So you hear it first, it's going to be one of those three. And I'll tell you what, if it is one of those three, I won't remind you what that. Oh, you'll be able to watch the video.
And if it's 178, you've got to stop fishing. Like, it's 178.
And he stops fishing. How are they going to work? Is not going to get to my 206.
No.
I reckon if it's 178, you've got to take him out.
Sounds already cheap.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, guys. Awesome, man. We really appreciate you having a bit like that.
Appreciate you having me.
Of course, man. I'll get you back. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll get you back when you've got a kingfish.
All right, then.
That's the reward.
That sounds really good.
Yeah.
Cool.
We'll celebrate.
Love it, guys. All right, awesome. Stay there. Don't move because we'll have a bit of a yak. And
This is great.
Okay.
All right.
Cheers, eh?
A few reports from what's happened around the state. Big thing this week is all striped marlin off St Helens. I had one of my good friends and customers from up north tell me about how he's seen some marlin stuff off St Helens about 3 weeks ago. They were keeping it pretty quiet at the time.
Well, this is hell.
Stephen Taylor it was. He won't maybe dropping his name in it. I was sworn to secrecy. And then the comp was on up there over the weekend, and the guys absolutely smashed them. For those that don't know, they're not a particularly high number fish in Tasmania. They're not common by any stretch of the imagination, but global warming, different currents, all that stuff was awesome. And well, not necessarily awesome, global warming, but certainly awesome for us because to push the fish down. So striped marlin,
As he only gets better, mate.
striped marlin coming out of St Helens on the weekend, and an amazing comp run over the weekend. So awesome work to all those that managed to get a striped marlin. Plenty of squid in the south, Dens Point, Betsy Island being the standout areas. A few guys in this morning saying they did quite well in front of Snug. So awesome job there. Browns River is starting to fish well. A few of the juniors in this week, so they've been fishing plastics on the bottom for bream and Browns River. Now with this extremely wet Wednesday, I reckon you'll find that'll be nice and dirty in there, and it'll be fishing even better over the next couple of weeks. They're fishing extremely well in bream. Guys fishing predominantly hard bodies around the Cadbury's area, Otago Bay. Silver and olive style hard bodies being good. Anyone jump in here if you're anything else that I want to talk about? The lower reaches have been fishing really well in the Huon with the occasional bycatch of trout as well. So that's always better. That's one thing I do love about bream fishing is you often do get a bycatch of trout. That's kind of cool. A few reports of bluefin down Eagle Hawk Neck and at Petra. One of the cooler reports I heard in Pirate Bay itself, there was bluefin up in the shallows going around the moored boats and stuff like that.
Wow.
That'd be a bit of fun. I'd like to get down there.
That'd be
they
exciting.
cast lures at them. In fact, I'd like to see more people casting lures of bluefin.
Mm.
I don't know why more people don't do it. We've done it for a little bit over the years, and it's not the easiest thing to go find it, but God, it's fun when you're actually holding onto the rope and hook up.
And like that's the thing. It's like half the time, if you're just looking around trying to find them, it's like, oh well, we might as well throw the rods out so we're at least fishing. And then it's like you hook up, and then it's like, oh well, we've sort of got to worry about that fish.
I'll always go out with my mates, and I'll be sitting there with a spin rod in my hand as we're trolling, waiting for the rods to go up, and I'll just be like, they go off, chuck the head of the boat, just drift it down, and start jigging jiggers and stuff like that. Yeah, so much fun. I'm such a nuisance when I'm on the boat. Around the northern part of the state, the big thing is snapper. God, there's some snapper reports coming in from up north, which is kind of cool. And decent sized ones all across the northwest in particular. And of course, Pedro Branca has been fishing really well for bluefin, but also striped trumpeter as well, and Eagle Hawk Neck for stripers as well. So yeah, that's it. Any other reports that you can think of that you've heard over the link? That's anything out of the ordinary?
Nothing dramatic. I don't know. I mean, obviously a lot of people would have been fishing, but I mean, a lot of systems would have got pressured over the weekend. So
Ludwig starting to appear up the East Coast.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. A lot of guys chasing them on plastics now, which is nice.
just green plastics, I'm guessing.
Cute.
Green plastics, I'm guessing, because obviously they.
Well, no, I actually know one. I saw one guy would mention about it. He caught one on a silver squidgy fish and silver fox. That's a plastic I haven't used in many years, but they were. They were the plastic back in the day.
No, like
whatever happened to squidgies?
So like pure silver, yeah. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So like, why is the Ludwig eating that?
Dude, I remember years ago I was fishing up with Alistair Creed in the Scamander River.
Yeah.
We were just mucking around. It was before a brim comp, and he bought one of those fishing magazines when people bought fishing magazines, and it come with like free stuff on the front of it. And he had this soft plastic, which was clearly out of China, and it was the ugliest looking green soft plastic I've ever seen. Like it was like stretchy. Not because it was stretchy like the Z-Band stretchy. It was just stretchy because it was the plastic they were using at the time because it was cheap. First cast on it as a joke. Ludwig. Friggin' stonker of a Ludwig.
Talk about randomly shaped plastics. I don't know if you've seen them. Like they're sort of like a Japanese bass fishing sort of style thing. Have you seen those? I'll try and find a photo and put it up.
Yeah.
They're literally like just a square cube of plastic.
I'm feeling it's
and they put like string like straight through it sort of thing, and just use it on a jig. It's the weirdest thing, but like it's starting to like they're raving about it.
Well, imagine like having the sharp edges would create a lot more bubbles.
Literally just like a square.
Yeah, it would.
Like.
Yeah, I can see it.
So random.
I can see it.
You've got to stop looking at weird fishing sites.
No.
Yeah, delete your history, bro.
Stop swearing. Stop swearing.
Delete the browser history.
Oh yeah, well if you can find it, check it out. That sounds kind of.
I will, yeah.
Well, it's amazing. Like you think about, like we all get caught up in like what we use for different lures. Like obviously traditionally down here, like for brim and trout, we all use slender profile, 65 mil, 60 mil, sort of hard bodies and stuff like that. But cranks work really, really well, and for the brim and stuff like that. And like you go to the mainland, they use a little fat, chubby crank style lures all the time. But we just don't really use them that down here, and they work really, really well. Or the muscle lures and stuff like that. Like I mean, like what brims out in the middle of the water chasing mussels? Like apart from these ones.
Hey, get some.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
You get yourself a triangle lure, just change it up.
That's it.
Yeah, it's obviously working.
That's it. Hexagon.
Yeah, hexagon.
I need to try and buy one. I want to try and buy one.
Yeah,
I need to find a little square. Just buy it.
Well, I've got plenty of plastics out there. We'll just cut one up.
Yeah, that's it.
Melt it down, mold it together. See how we go.
Problem solved.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Brag time. All right. Now, there's been plenty of this here. Darren Hampson with an awesome feeder snapper. It got cleaned up in the northwest, I believe it was.
What's the count?
Hey?
What was the count?
Oh, I think it was like 8 or something like that. You look up here in the picture, you'd be able to see.
Oh,
maybe it's
absolutely.
Over
there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We got Nick Symes with his first snapper off Ulverston, so more snapper talk.
Absolutely awesome work.
Yeah, you got Jason Sharon with a cracking gummy. Awesome. Now, it's the first time I've heard a gummy going on. What?
For a while?
Yeah. It's been a whole minute since I've ever been able to mention that.
Just a few episodes.
That's probably does happen. Have you've obviously got some gummies before?
Yeah, I've got gummies. Yeah, a long time ago I used to target them.
Yeah.
One of my best favourite eating fish there is.
It's one of the best eating fish ever.
Whereabouts did you catch them?
I caught them at the neck where the penguin rookery is on the ocean side.
Yeah.
Beach fishing at night, just on dark. Burly up from about an hour and a half before dark.
Yeah, very good.
And then chuck your baits out and sort out stingrays and catch gummy sharks. So you just got to, that's the problem.
Well, you know what, I have been
a lot of bycatch.
I have not been proper gummy shark fishing from the shore, I reckon, for 15 years. So I reckon we should make a trip.
This needs to happen.
You go there, stop the old bait runners and see where we go.
That'd be great.
Game on.
Brendan Taylor with good feed of squid and King George whiting from the northwest. Awesome work.
We got Joshua Fifis at a guess with a nice Ludwig on the old squidgy fish in silver fox that you're talking about.
I think it's Fifis.
Yeah, I know. It's repetitive. Oh.
It could be a typo. We don't even know yet.
We don't even know.
We don't even
Actually,
know.
It wasn't a typo because I was sitting at the shop when I wrote this out trying to think. I don't want to stuff up this guy's last name, so I thought Fifis.
Fifis. Fifis.
3555.
Well, that was
So
where I
either
was
way,
going, yeah.
cool last name.
Good.
Yeah,
Killing
that's
it.
right. Cool last name.
That's it. Stuart Peel with his first snapper on a squidgy prawn.
Squidgy's coming back.
Squidgy.
Awesome work. We all remember our first snap. Have you got a snapper?
I've caught a snapper in Melbourne once, about this big.
It counts.
But it was a snapper, but not in Tasmania. No, I tried last season for a bit, but had no luck.
I didn't even call them in New Zealand.
There you go.
Mm.
Absolutely. Vanessa with a cracking striped marlin off St Helens, one of the many that caught over the weekend.
Great.
Awesome work, Vanessa.
That's it.
Cool
Well done.
fish to catch.
Great fish to catch.
We got Danny Suddill and his son Anthony from.
Anthony, I believe you find it is.
Yeah, no H in that one. Silent H.
Anthony is his name.
Yeah, just read
Yeah,
read the
no
sheet, Buzz.
Professional Randy.
From Meta.
Oh, he's gone.
All right, here we go.
Meridian tackle,
We've
baby.
got him. Danny Suttle and his son Anthony from Meridian.
Anthony. No, it's Danny Suttle and his son Anthony.
That's it. I know these. I know this well. I know them well. I've known the family for years. And he, from Meridian Tack with a cracking striped marlin, those guys can fish. Meridian Lure is absolutely amazing tuna lure, and for everything else as well, clearly in striped marlin. So well done, boys. That's an awesome job.
Good on, Raz.
Which one have we got?
Paul.
Oh, he's getting included. So.
Paul Digny.
See, I don't want to say
Yeah,
that. Yeah. Help us up an Aaron.
Paul Digny with an epic striped marlin. So there's another striped marlin. So
But it was a lot caught over the weekend.
Yeah.
That's epic.
Very
Some of the
interesting.
footage I saw, Dylan Lover
Fantastic.
showed me some of the footage of these things coming up in the back of the spread and knocking lures and stuff around like that because they're not an easy fish to hook. They're really hard mouths and stuff. So awesome work, Diggy. You've done well.
Good job.
Jake Dance from Colorado Lures with a cracking southern bluefin on the Mozza lure. So Colorado Lures did a lure range for with Mozza's logo and face on the front of it. Obviously, the big man passed away a while ago. Very sad. But the lures are actually epic. So awesome work to catch a cool fish on it like that.
Check out
And awesome work, Colorado Lures,
Yeah.
for making that lure.
Mozo, what a guy.
We got Dylan Smith with a nice stripey here. So
Awesome work, young Dylan.
Yeah. Jack Wise with a nice brimski on the hard body.
Absolutely.
Look out.
Yeah, Junior smashing it up like he always does.
Good on him.
Boys from Tail Chasers getting into some nice stripies on knife jigs. I think it might have been out of Pedro, but I'm not sure. But awesome work.
On knife jigs.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the next thing. That'll be you next.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
finishing it off, we got Kane Brown with a decent feed of calamari there. I got that one right.
You did get
10
that
out
one
of 10,
right.
mate.
Absolutely got.
Proud of you, buddy.
9 out of 10.
Awesome, guys. Well, I think that's probably us for the night. Dan, awesome work popping in and having a yak with us. So we really appreciate it. And guys, don't forget www.snagged.com.au to win some awesome prizes. Some awesome Shimano lure packs going out at the moment. And in a couple of weeks' time, we're giving away a $1,000 Kingfish combo. So
Behave.
you've got to be a member.
Got to be a
Got to
member.
be a member to win these things. And hopefully you're getting a phone call from me.
There you go.
See
See you guys.
Peace.